Hey guys, it's me, your friend Felissa Rose, Angela from Sleepaway Camp, and you're listening to Kendall Hates Horror! Yeah.
Warning. Some viewers may find the following footage deeply disturbing. Welcome to my world, bitch. Kendall hates horror.
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie.
I'm so fucking scared right now.
The other day, I read a story. It was a few years old, but did you know that the Scientology was trying to recruit Hulk Hogan to Scientology? Could you imagine those auditing sessions? Like, because, auditing is basically like a lie detector on yourself.
And considering how much
the
of a liar...
Scientology building would have exploded. Because Hulk Hogan is the
notorious liar.
Biggest liar. This motherfucker has said some of the wildest shit that he actually lost time because he flew from Australia to America. So technically, he's experienced a 27-hour day.
Yeah, let that sink in.
Elvis Presley was a Hulkamaniac, even though Hulk Hogan didn't start wrestling until 1979.
Which was 2 years after?
2 years after Elvis. He said that Elvis used to come to his shows and all that stuff,
Yeah.
2 years after he died.
These are the notorious Hulk Hogan lies.
So Hulk Hogan didn't start wrestling
until 1979.
Until 79, and he said Elvis came to his matches.
And he was a Hulkamaniac.
Hulk Hogan wrestled 400 days in 1 year.
Okay, that's...
because of the time change.
Yeah, because of him flying back and forth to,
Since there's, 400 days in a year.
An extra day, yeah.
That's just some of the lies that he's told. He was approached to... he was supposed to play and even got approached to play bass for Metallica and the Rolling Stones, which they both refuted many times.
He said that they asked him to play bass for them?
Yes. He partied with John Belushi after WrestleMania 2. WrestleMania 2 was in 1986. John Belushi died in 1982.
Yeah.
I think it's not coincidence. I think he's just he wants this list to be made.
He thinks
he's like, can they pick out all the lies?
This is more insider terms. He thinks the Montreal screw job happened at WrestleMania 17.
It happened at Survivor Series.
Yeah, in Houston.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
This is in 2001 when both Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels were both retired. Shawn Michaels hadn't come back from his back injury yet; he was still out. And then Bret Hart had he was leading to his stroke that he got from Goldberg. So I thought that was funny.
Yeah. Welcome everybody to this week's episode of Kendall Hates Horror. Hope you guys had a fantastic holiday experience. Welcome back to the studio. I'm sitting across the table from the horror aficionado and lazy slacker.
Yeah, that's
Evan?
me.
And over here, the beautifully refreshed and well-lubed throated Kendall.
Not yet, I'll do it again.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
He's going to lubricate that. Yeah.
How we doing, everybody?
I'm doing great. How was your holiday?
It was good. Kids were good.
Good.
Wife's good. Life's good.
Fantastic.
Yeah, as long as everybody's good, I'm good.
Yeah. What are we here to talk about today? What movie are we watching?
We're here to talk about the fantastically stupid.
That's actually a really good way of describing it.
Fantastically stupid.
One of my favorites.
That's how people describe me.
Oh, no, come on.
I'm fantastic, but I'm stupid.
I just re-edited the Halloween episode, and I remember you're talking, cause
God damn it, we keep bringing that up.
Yeah, well,
There's a really fucking funny part of that, but
yeah.
but we're talking about 1999's Idle Hands.
Yeah. So, we scared the shit out of you with Autopsy of Jane Doe,
Yep.
and then we hit you with a heavy hitter, but now we're going to go with something a bit more lighthearted.
Yeah, a bit dumb.
A bit dumb.
I genuinely appreciate that.
Before we slam the door in your face next week.
Yeah. It was released on April 30th of 1999.
Yeah.
It was directed by Rodman Flender. That sounds like a fake name.
It does sound like a fake name.
That's not a real person. It's it's starring the great Devon Sawa.
I love Devon Sawa. Horror fans, obviously, you know who this is. This is the lead actor from the very first Final Destination movie.
Any fans of the Chucky TV series will know Devon Sawa. He's played 5 different characters on that show.
Or if you like Casper, he was Casper.
He was Casper.
Because I know that.
You know that one.
I know that one.
He was the quarterback in Little Giants.
He was the quarterback in Little Giants.
Sure was.
That's great.
Fucking A. I love that movie.
It was. I just recently watched that movie on
I did
Tubi.
too.
I was like, oh, this is fun.
Hey, do you like football? No. Do you want to come play for us? No. Great. Show up on Saturday.
Also starring Seth Green.
Yes. He's the reason this movie's fun.
Oh yeah. I think his other co-star Eldon Henson
is also
the reason this movie rules.
Yeah.
They are both awesome. Also starring in I think one of her first.
She did like 2 things.
This is like her first big thing.
This is the first big theater.
Jessica Alba. She's like what 19,
20, somewhere in there.
In this movie. Also starring Jack Noseworthy.
Yep.
And Vivica A. Fox. And also the great Fred Willard. In a very small role,
part.
But he fucking rules in this movie.
Part,
and then also starring The Offspring. Hey, yay, they're here.
Yeah, Dexter's the only one who actually gets a billing. The rest of them is just listed as The Offspring.
The Offspring.
This is after he cut off the braids and went with the short bleached blonde hair, which is way lamer.
But this movie was a hit. That was sarcasm.
Yeah, big sarcasm.
It had a budget of $25 million, and it made $4 million at the box office.
Throughout its entire theatrical run.
Yeah, it currently has like an 18% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is unfair. I think that's completely unfair.
Well, it had the unfortunate distinction of coming out in the theaters 10 days after the Columbine tragedy in 1999.
If you don't know what that is, look it up.
Yeah. I'll recommend Last Podcast on the Left did a fantastic 3-parter on the Columbine tragedy.
Yeah.
To remind people that no, those kids weren't bullied; they were just fucking assholes.
They were just crazy.
This movie was targeted towards like the 18 to 30 demographic, hardcore. We're gonna talk about how bad the women are written in this movie.
Yeah, I mean it's a stoner comedy at its core.
But the funny thing is. Look up who wrote this movie. It's a fucking woman.
Mm-hmm. No shit.
Yeah, and for some reason, she decided to write Jessica Alba and whatever the blonde girls, I don't remember what her name is, wrote them.
That played Tanya.
That played Tanya. Wrote them terribly, just horrible.
Yeah,
and then
her name was Katie Wright.
Katie Wright. She apparently as a woman doesn't know how to write strong women roles because she made Jessica Alba look like a vapid teen moron, and Tanya was a slut, and whatever.
There's also a sweet fucking cameo that if you blink you miss it by Tom DeLonge from Blink-182.
Yeah.
It seriously, it blew my fucking mind when I recently watched it. I was like, oh my god, Tom DeLonge is from Blink-182.
Yeah.
It's like the guitar player, the not Mark Hoppus or Travis Barker, that guy.
Right, that one.
Yeah, the best member of Blink-182 in my opinion. Anyways,
this is what this movie is. What happens when MTV decides they want to make a horror movie? They cast a bunch of these young. I feel like Jack Noseworthy. I can't remember, but I feel like he was one of the reasons why he got the job is because he was cast in something on MTV. I don't remember what it was.
Possible. I'm not for sure. Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, Joe's Apartment is what you get when MTV makes a movie.
yes, there's that. Well, because they did the
That movie sucks so
well,
bad.
it was based off of some. It was
Based off of like a little skit.
little
on
skit
MTV,
in between,
Yeah.
kind of like Aeon Flux was, which Aeon the
Aeon Flux was off of like Liquid television. I
Liquid
think.
TV, yeah.
Yeah.
the animated Aeon Flux stuff. Was
The
great.
movie
The
sucked.
movie was fucking horrible though. Yeah,
Hot dog water.
yeah.
Hot dog water.
Yeah,
Have you
it
ever
was,
tried hot dog water?
no.
Like just drank some?
I would assume it's bad. That's why I say it's hot dog water.
Oh, I'm not saying this from like I haven't experienced it myself. I was just saying if you had.
No, I haven't.
And I was gonna be like, that's fucking gross, Evan. Like, why would you do that?
I mean, Charlize Theron's in that movie.
Yeah.
She's super hot in it.
Yeah, because she's in like
Yeah, she looks like
spandex, you
she
know.
looks like Celine from Underworld.
Yeah, she
like
really
Kate
does.
Beckinsale in the Underworld,
Which is the
movies.
hottest a woman has ever looked in my entire life.
I agree.
Yeah, Kate Beckinsale in Underworld.
Yeah,
That was
she is a smoke show.
yeah. So
That's top for you.
that's Kate Beckinsale's in my top 5 of like all time great beauties in the world. That's
Hell
just,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, I gotta put Alexander Daddario and Margot Robbie's in there too. So
Yeah, I don't really get the Alexander Daddario thing.
okay,
She's fine.
Okay.
She's fine.
that's khhorrorpodcast@gmail.com.
Go ahead. She's fine, but also my opinion on her is based on she was in a movie that I fucking hate. So she
Oh, so that makes her unattractive.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
there was a movie you
and
didn't
she
like.
was representing me in that film because she was a meat cutter.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, it's a Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
It fucking sucks,
Okay,
and she's not good in it.
fair enough.
Yeah. So you got your
Oh
Yeah,
let's
so I
wait-
guess it's time in the show.
go ahead and introduce it, Evan.
well, everybody, it's time for Kendall's fun facts.
Hold on to your butts.
That's called anticipation.
No, it's anticipation.
So I wanted to start this one off with a couple of questions.
Oh boy.
And I'm just interested to see if you'll get the answers right.
Okay.
Oh,
So they're kind of like trivia. It's kind of like trivia. It is trivia.
It's not kind of. It actually is explicitly trivia.
So these are probably, you're going to be like, what the fuck, these ain't hard. Okay, what horror movie from the 1980s starred a child actor who had no idea they were acting in a horror film? Did I fucking stump
wait,
you
hang
on
on a
the
second.
first one?
No, is it Child's Play?
No.
no,
okay.
no, that's Vincent he was on it.
The kid apparently had no idea he was in a horror film.
Man, it's a he, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know.
The Shining.
Oh, that kid.
Oh
didn't
yeah,
know?
because he doesn't have
didn't
any.
know.
There's no horror elements in that for him, other than like the girls being at
That,
the end of the
yeah,
hallway.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
He had no idea.
Well, to be fair, Shelley Duvall didn't know half of the stuff that was going to happen during that movie, and that's one of the reasons why she quit doing movies.
Yeah, it's when we talk about The Shining, we're gonna I'm gonna be real. We're gonna dunk on Stanley Kubrick a lot.
Yeah, because Stanley Kubrick's kind of an asshole.
I also found out that the woman, what's the woman's name in that?
Shelley Duvall.
Yeah, she passed away this year.
Yes.
Or this last year.
Yeah, she was very God bless her.
Yeah.
But she also thought that that Robin Williams didn't commit suicide, that he's a ghost, and he's gonna come back. Yeah,
She went off the deep end.
she
All right.
She had mental problems.
Oh,
Yeah.
But we love Shelley Duvall. She's the greatest.
All right. So this 80s horror film has a father bringing his deceased son back from the dead.
Pet Sematary.
Pet Cemetery.
That is correct. You son of a bitches. I thought you were going to get all these right. So what is Chucky's real name in Child's Play?
Charles Lee Ray.
Okay. I thought, wow, I'd stump him with that one.
No, what are you crazy?
Yeah.
I fucking love that
Yeah.
series.
Moving into the fun facts.
Mm.
The film's title is based on the saying, idle hands are the devil's playthings.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
This movie was filmed in the same neighborhood as the original Halloween movie.
Oh, really?
I didn't know
Same
that.
neighborhood.
That's neat.
Yeah.
I wonder
So
if we can. Well, this is going to tie in really well with our last episode because I wonder if we can spot like some of the same houses.
Yeah, some of the same houses.
Yeah, 'cause,
some more palm trees.
Some
'cause,
of
like,
maybe the painted leaves.
Maybe the pumpkins.
Pumpkins. Yeah.
There's probably...
It does take place during Halloween too. That's weird.
It does.
So this right here is
Mm-hmm.
my favorite fucking fun fact right here.
Of all the fun facts you've ever written, or
Of
just for this movie?
I think actually this one hit me the hardest. Like
Okay.
I was like, oh fuck, I
This
really
shit
like
right
this.
here?
This shit
This
right,
shit right
here, motherfucker.
This shit right motherfucking here?
The hand in this movie
Oh yeah, I know what he's gonna say.
also plays Thing in the Addams Family, which is a man named Christopher Hart
Yep.
is the hand guy,
Yeah.
and he's also a magician.
Yep.
That makes sense.
I fucking love that.
Yeah.
Did you know that Devon Sawa didn't actually have a driver's license when he made this movie?
Oh, is
So,
that why he doesn't
so when you
drive in the
see him driving, it's not him; it's a stunt.
Yeah.
That's right. I
Yeah.
wonder if that's why he doesn't drive, because he doesn't drive in fucking Final Destination either.
No, he doesn't.
He never gets behind the wheel.
'Cause
in
he's
Final
too young.
Well, no, because he doesn't have. He's not too young. He doesn't have a license.
He just doesn't have a license.
Yeah. Because he's probably the same age as Seth Green and Eldon Henson.
Seth Green's a little bit older.
Seth Green's a little bit older. Yeah, that's true. Seth Green.
Seth Green is
Seth Green
deceptively
has
older.
this weird thing of like he always looks like he's a teenager.
Yeah, and that's both the blessing and a curse of Seth Green is that's why he doesn't get many roles is because even though he's like older than us, he's like 53.
Yeah.
He still looks like he's in his late teens, early 20s.
Okay. Any more?
So the last one I have is, did you know? Oh, have you seen Jawbreaker
I have seen Jawbreaker.
Yeah.
and Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Yep.
So if you've seen the high school gym that's in those movies
Oh, no.
and shows, this is the same high school gym.
Really?
That's what I
And you
found.
know what also is the other thing that those things have in common is Julie Benz was in both of them.
She was.
Yeah, Julie,
wild.
I love Julie Benz.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Oh my God.
I'm literally in the middle of rewatching Angel right now. I'm on I just got to season 3, so
I love her
like
so much.
so yeah.
We were also just talking about Julie Benz since we did the Saw.
Yeah, we
thing.
just
we were just talking about her because she's in Saw 5.
So
Julie
the
Benz,
last-
if you would like to, if you would like to be on our podcast,
Dude,
just give us, just
I
email us,
had
khorrorpodcast@gmail.com.
such a crush.
Yeah, we would.
I had such a crush on her and Angel.
Oh
My
God,
dude.
Well, it was. I mean, all of them. It was her. It was Drusilla.
Oh yeah.
It was. God, like everybody had a crush on Allison Hannigan. Like.
So the scary rating.
Yeah.
So I looked it up. Funny. This movie's funny. Inventive.
Yep.
And it actually is a little scary. That's the best.
I think they're a scary.
Best thing I could
part.
find.
It has some moments, and like there's a certain sequence in the movie, like at the beginning, that's pretty scary. Not pretty scary. It's kind of scary. It's got some slasher movie vibes and stuff.
It's
like
a little
that.
bit splatter. A little bit of splatter.
Yeah, this movie has some great kills. I mean, just fantastic kills. I mean, just and it's gory.
But yeah, the first word was funny. So I'm
Yes.
and inventive. So I'm not really worried about it.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
I think I should be all right.
Yeah. I'll say this. I when I was watching this movie the first time, and then also when I was rewatching this movie a couple weeks ago in preparation for recording, I remember that how much I actually can't stand Anton, which is Devon Sawa's character. He's just horrible. He's just terrible. He's just fucking.
Well, I think that's the whole point. He has growth through the film.
Maybe.
He does. Yeah. I mean.
Well, we'll argue about it when we come back.
Yeah. So this is the part where we will we want you to pause the podcast and go watch the movie because we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about the movie and we're gonna spoil some stuff. So if you haven't seen the movie, pause the podcast now. If you have seen the movie and just want to get to us acting like jackasses and talking about and arguing about whether or not this is a good movie or not, just join us after the musical interlude, and we'll see you then.
I'm not very smart. So.
You are. Shut up. Shut up. I will not have someone talking bad about someone that I care.
Don't talk about him like that.
Yeah,
I fucking love him.
Yeah, I fucking love that guy. Kendall has now watched Idle Hands. I gotta ask, Kendall. I was just commenting this to Evan. I was like, yeah, it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
But it's not a good movie.
I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I it's like Pineapple Express meets fucking Saw.
A slasher or something. Yeah, yeah. Actually, man, that almost describes it perfectly. Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, it's like
Except like Pineapple Express just doesn't make me laugh that much.
No, Pineapple Express wasn't funny to me at all.
There's like one scene in that movie
It's where he's crying.
It's when he's crying on the swing set while he's eating a cheeseburger.
Like
it's the funniest shit.
It's supposed to be the most unfunny scene in that movie.
It's so fucking funny to me.
Yeah.
Like James Franco eating a cheeseburger while he's on the swing set.
Crying.
Is like the funniest thing. And then fucking Danny McBride.
Thug life. Yeah.
Thug Life.
Yeah.
No, but that's kind of what I was thinking when I was watching it. Was like, this is kind of like, it's giving me Pineapple Express vibes.
Oh yeah, it's a stoner movie. That's what it is. Yeah.
But it's like a horror movie.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't unsettling.
Mm-mm.
Like, I think I'm getting to the meat and potatoes of what I don't like about horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like to be unsettled like that. Like,
Yeah.
Man, you're gonna have a
yeah, I know. I'm in for it.
next
like
episode is,
Next week.
when we watched Autopsy, like that was not an enjoyable experience for me.
Yeah,
Like, the
I
whole
will
thing was
just say, I was like, this is like on the little fucking thing we have on our podcast, like the little thing.
the logo. Yeah.
Yeah, the logo. Thank you, Evan. The fucking. See how fucking stupid I am? I can't even.
You're like 4 beers deep.
I can't even come up with logo. Oh,
You're like-
four
you're
beers.
You're like 4 or 5 beers deep. I lost count. I know it was 2 or 3 during the movie, and 1 before we started. And now I don't know if that's a new one.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, like, I lost my train of
The
thought. now.
logo.
Yeah, fucking, and the
It's
thing.
unsettling.
It's Oh yeah. So you guys are forcing me to watch. There's some of these movies that you're gonna force me to watch,
Yeah.
like The Autopsy of Jane Doe,
Yeah.
like The Thing.
Yeah. That's
But
next
this
week.
one, I feel like I would watch that one again.
Would you have watched this one on your own if we
Yes.
hadn't made you watch it?
I feel like now that I've seen it, obviously,
Yeah,
I will watch this again. Now, if I probably would have never heard about, I would have never even come across this movie had you guys not.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it.
It's an obscure gem. It
Yeah.
really is.
I will watch this again.
Yeah.
Good.
So
And
come and watch it with Jamie.
She says she's seen it before, maybe, but
Yeah, but
she
if you've seen
wasn't
it once, you can watch
real
it again.
confident.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'll watch it with her.
Yeah,
I mean, even if you, I just rewatched this. Like, it was probably I rewatched it a couple weeks ago for the first time in several years, and I still find, like we were talking about, like without Seth Green and Eldon Henson, that movie would not have been nearly as funny at all. Like those two really brought like the comedic timing, the oh yeah. Well, after we're done with that, why don't we just clean the whole fucking house? Yeah. Like, just the comedic timing of Seth Green and Eldon Henson in that movie was really good. Yeah. Yeah, Evan, what were you saying about Seth Green?
Oh, what?
Like, this movie made you love Seth Green?
Yeah. Because to be honest, my exposure of Seth Green in the late '90s was literally just the Austin Powers movies.
Yeah.
Because I didn't watch Buffy.
You didn't
when
watch
it was-
Buffy until, like, what, 2012, 2013?
Yeah, something
somewhere
like
in
that.
there?
Yeah. That's the first time I watched Buffy. So and he's not even like the same type of character in Buffy as he is in pretty much anything
Right, because
else.
Buffy isn't very funny.
Oh no, it is. It's extremely.
Buffy's very
it's
funny.
hilarious. It's a very smartly written show, but it's very quippy. Yeah.
But we were also talking about during this movie, like, there's so many good one-liners in the movie that have worked their way into my lexicon all the time. Just something as simple as, well, this sucks.
Yeah.
You know? And then, well, fuck you then.
Fuck you then.
Yeah, fuck you then. Just the little things like that have work their way into like the commonalities and things that I say. Like I pick up a lot of movie quotes all the time, so that's what this.
It's a quotable movie for sure. It's Step Brothers kind of.
Yes, that's what this. I'm pointing at my head, but that's what this is. It's a vast wasteland of movie trivia and quotes, and that's it.
You guys do really impress me with all the people and movie stuff that you know. Like, I've seen movies, like, but if you asked me about it, like, who was in that movie that you just watched, I'd be like, I don't know, it's that one dude that might have played in that other movie that I don't really remember what it was called, and I don't know. Yeah, like you guys are just crazy to me. I just sit here and I haven't seen very many movies, really. I mean, I spent a lot of my childhood just like building houses and
fishing and all
doing
the things
shit
that
like that.
Yeah.
Well, my dad like didn't believe in you being a child, so he was like, "Hey, we have houses to build, so go ahead and do that." So it's like I don't know. Anyway, I'm not gonna.
You actually,
unload.
the thing is, you actually had a father who wanted to be like involved in your life and do things with you and like teach you things, whereas I had a family who would put me in front of a TV so they could go get high in the other room.
Right. Well,
so that's how
in this situation, I consider myself lucky.
Correct. You should.
Yes.
Your dad's awesome.
He's a good man.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dad.
Does he listen?
No, fuck no. He don't even know we do this.
Oh no.
I haven't even told him about it.
He
would be like, "What the fuck?"
So, is there anything in this movie that stood out for you like a lot?
I will say there was an episode we did a while back, or I think it might have been episode 0, where we talked about splatter.
Yes.
And I will say that this kind of had that aura about it.
This is a very light version of splatter.
It wasn't, but I will, like, where the blood just fucking goes crazy. I just really liked the movie. I don't know. It didn't really feel like horror to me. It felt it was just a good time.
I feel like it was a good time. It was more of a comedy movie with horror aspects.
Yes, But it's kind of like what Evan says. Like, if you're gonna go ridiculous about something, then you got to go full into it, or it's like I don't appreciate it or respect it at all.
Yeah.
And they went. Devin Sawa kills it with his the way he's doing his hand and all that.
Yeah.
Like, he's fucking killing that performance.
Yeah,
like you were talking with the remote.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoyed the fuck out of that.
Yeah, that whole sequence where he's like wrestling trying to wrestle a remote away from the hand, and he tosses it up and then reaches over and grabs it.
Yeah,
like,
and he's able to catch it and shit. Yeah, like, that is just fucking.
And then the scene on the the porch where he grabs the rail and then flips himself over.
Yeah,
I equated that to like slapstick.
Yeah,
it was almost Three Stooges like, where he's doing and where he's grabbing his own face and he's like grabbing it hard and everything. So,
well, why the fuck did she go in there dressed as a nun? What was the point in that?
She had when she goes back in the
get access to the jail because they let nuns and priests go talk to prisoners.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Dead Man Walking?
Nope.
She went in when she gets into the Airstream. She takes the nun's costume, hangs up, and she parts the clothes on there. She has a bunch of
costumes that she uses so she can get in.
Because like when she got access to Randy, when she finally meets Randy, she shows up in like she has bowling shoes and a bowling shirt.
Right.
On. So it was a costume that she could use to blend into wherever
she was specifically
going
there so she could scope out, find who she thinks.
I don't know why she would go straight to a bowling alley, assuming
there's a lot of fucking losers that bowl. Sorry.
I don't bowl, so.
Sorry, listeners, but they're...
Well...
I mean, there's a whole fucking movie about it. It's called The Big Lebowski.
It's like anything else. It's like anything else. There's losers and there's cool people.
And Kingpin.
Yeah, and Kingpin, but I mean, like the
dude
dude is like the epitome of what this thing would possess.
Yeah, actually, he's exactly what this thing would have possessed. A guy who bowls, but also just sits around the house and gets high.
Yeah, it does fucking nothing.
It did explain that, like
he gets high and fucking drinks White Russians.
It finds the most worthless piece of shit.
Yeah, so she went to a bowling alley.
Do you have a job, sir?
Hmm?
Do you have a job, sir?
No. You call me the dude, or you know,
El
El
Dorino.
Duderino if you're not all up for the brevity.
Or his
thing.
dudeness.
Or his dudeness if you're not into the brevity thing. I want to talk about the
Specifically, idle hands.
Specifically, this is an Idle Hands podcast. This would be
Idle hand.
Idle Hand.
Idle hand. They need to fix the name so me and Evan don't have to argue about whether there was.
How about
two
we just
hands
call
involved.
it fucking Idle Hands because that's what the fucking movie's called.
No, there was just one hand.
He's
The other
not
hand
wrong.
was fine.
He's not wrong. It's what the movie is called. So
It's why we don't call it.
From now on,
it's why we call it the thing and not the thing
The thing.
because it's called the thing.
yeah.
It's not the thing.
That's why we call it a tomato because it's not a tomato.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on where
Depends
you
on where you
grew up or
live.
something.
Oh, see,
We have like a pretty kind of regular horror opening that we get with every movie ever. It's a horror movie in the 90s.
Yeah.
It's got a sweet like title card.
Yeah,
Really
it does.
cool.
Yeah.
But we meet Mr. and Mrs. Tobias. They never say their first names. Everybody will remember Fred Willard.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Yeah, and Connie Ray, I believe, is the name of the actress that played his mom. She's
Never
been
heard.
in a bunch of stuff. She's like one of those people that if you saw her, it's something like, oh yeah, that chick, yeah, blah blah blah. But they're kind of getting ready for bed, and then we notice that there's a black light on the ceiling that says "I'm under the bed," and we get these old people arguing about.
Well, who's gonna check under the bed
Yeah.
and all that shit? And it's like, bitch,
Yeah, this is
you
like
can look too.
This is a fucking. This is a marriage that's on the ropes, and only because Fred Willard won't say anything.
Yeah. He's staying together for Scooter, which is apparently Devon Sawa's
Whatever
nickname
and
or whatever.
you can tell that Mrs. Tobias doesn't see her son for what he really is.
Yeah,
that
but Mr. Tobias totally
he's
does.
like he's a fucking lazy piece of shit.
Yeah, he wouldn't scoot his ass off the couch for anything.
And she's like, oh, he wouldn't do that. She's like,
arguably they're still together for Bones too.
Bones,
Yeah.
Bones and Duke.
Bones and
Yeah,
Duke.
and
Yeah,
Bones-
they have
Bones.
three children.
Yeah. Bones is the cat, Duke is the dog.
And then Mr. Tobias, he kind of goes down and checks it when we hear a noise.
He has that moment where he stops in the doorway where he's about to be like, I want a divorce.
Yep, he about said it. Like we've all been in that marriage situation where you're like, it's not worth the fight.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go fucking look.
I'm gonna have to divide
maybe
my
I'll,
shit.
Maybe I will die. You know, and
I'm gonna
you
have
know.
to sleep on a hide-a-bed for a while.
And we get some nice little teases for things later, like little scares and stuff that are going to take place later, and like little callbacks, like the "I'm under the bed," the knitting needles.
Because she pulls out, apparently to reduce her anxiety, she pulls out the knitting
Yeah,
needles.
that's fine.
And starts. That's fine.
And the fucking cat.
The cat,
And we
yeah.
find out that Anton, who is Devon Sawa's character, sleeps in the attic.
Which is weird because he doesn't even have a bed.
He has a mattress on the floor. Been there.
Yeah.
Been there.
Yeah, we've all done that.
I did that when
It's
I was.
been a long time for me, but yeah.
Yeah, when I was like in my early 20s, first moving out, that's all I had was a mattress and a box spring. Just laid on the floor.
Well, you had a box spring.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't just a mattress.
Oh, I've just had a mattress.
Oh, yeah, I never had just a
I've
mattress.
well,
What are
there
you,
was a
fucking-
time I didn't even have that.
Oh, Jesus.
I just fucking made we called it a pallet on the
Yes.
floor.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I used to do that
You
all
just
the time.
threw fucking
Yeah, but
a blanket down.
yeah, but probably when you used to sleep in a pallet on the floor, it was because it was fun.
Well,
Like,
yeah, but
to
I was
sleep in
like
front of the TV.
8.
Yeah.
Because me and my dad, that's when we watch movies. It's like my dad would be on the couch, and then I'd make a pallet on the floor and sleep on. Of course, I was a child.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
Yeah.
And then now I'd be like, no, where's the bed, bro?
My pallet situation was not by choice.
Yeah. Same.
And mine was always like, let me get every blanket that we have in the house, and it's going on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's basically a mattress.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you a really fucking sad story. So when I was 8, and my parents, against my will, took me from my grandfather down to Oklahoma, and we moved in with my dad's parents. And for the entirety of the 4th grade, I was in 4 different schools, and for 6 months, well, probably not for 6 months, probably like for 4 months, I slept in a tent in the living room on the floor.
Wow. Thanks for bumming us out.
That
bro.
beat
Yeah.
drop.
Yeah.
Was it fun though?
When I was a kid, yeah,
Yeah.
it seemed like it was fun.
Like looking back on it now, you're like, dude, that was fucked up.
that was really
but
fucked
maybe
up,
in
yeah.
that moment,
Oh
you were
yeah,
like,
when I was a kid,
dude, this
was,
is my tent.
This is my tent. Like I can
Yeah.
close this door anytime I
I got
want
my
to.
own house.
Yeah, you have to knock on my tent to come in. But as an adult, I go, might as well be sleeping in the backyard for all it was worth.
Yeah, right.
I think so.
Anyways.
Sorry, Grant.
Yeah, that's right.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Why I'm so well adjusted today.
Let some trauma shit out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do that too.
Yeah, and Mrs. Tobias, she slips on some blood. Whatever. She runs upstairs because she's scared, I guess. I mean, would that scare you if you
I think I would have been terrified at just seeing the writing on the fucking ceiling. That would have been the moment I was like, nope, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Oh, I've
I'm
been
out of the
like-
house.
And then we get kind of she runs up to the runs upstairs into the room, and she's dialing 911.
As slow as she possibly can.
Yeah, slow ass Miss Tobias.
3 numbers.
It's 3 numbers, yeah. And she goes,
And she's like,
9,
"Nee,
1,
nee."
and then, yeah.
It's called suspense, guys.
Ridiculous is what it
It's
was.
not suspenseful. I know the number. I know what she's about to do. I just wish she would have done it faster.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and
not
that-
suspenseful, it's ridiculous.
That phone gets ripped out of her fucking hands, and then she gets like dragged underneath the bed, and just blood everywhere.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
it just squirts out from
Yeah, just
underneath.
and the bed's like shaking, like those old hotel beds that you put change into for them to vibrate.
I've never had one of those.
Me neither.
Never,
That's
ever.
before my time, I
Yeah.
think. Did you ever?
The magic fingers?
No, I
Magic
never
fingers
dealt
bed?
with that.
Yeah, you put like quarters in it, and then it would shake. I remember it's a really funny bit in National Lampoon's Vacation when Chevy Chase and he's sitting there trying to have a conversation with Beverly and Angelo, and then we cut to the like the next morning, and it's like we get a glimpse into the life of Anton.
Which
Yes.
I fucking hate.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's a fucking slacker, dude. You must have never like experienced this life.
No, I've smoked weed 4 times in my life. And
Oh
I
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
No
I've,
shit.
I've literally been that dude, like barely post high school or like at the end of high school. It's just like, yeah, that's like when I had 2 classes my senior year. That was my life. Was I smoked weed all night. I got up at like noon,
Yeah.
and then I did my little class, came home and smoked some more weed. That was my life. So, and then
I got up in the morning and smoked weed, then went to school.
And then when I first moved out, bro, that's
and then
all I did.
Probably hit weed, smoked some weed in the parking lot, like during lunch, went back to school. Yeah.
I've smoked weed 4 times in my life. The first 2 times it gave me a really, really bad headache. The third time, Evan was actually present for the third time. I took 1 hit off of a bong, and it fucked me up for hours. I had to drive us home, and Evan was like, "This is why they should legalize weed, because you're never gonna find a safer driver than a guy who's high trying to get home." Because I was at 10 and 2 driving 50 down Kellogg, just being like, man, I just want to get home so I can just puke and then sleep, and I don't care if it's in that order. And then the 4th time, I smoked it with the Destroyer of Worlds, and she was like, "Are you feeling anything?" And I'm like, "No, I'm kind of tired, but it's like 10:30, it's past my bedtime." She's like, "I am tripping balls," and I was like, "Okay, do you want to go to bed?" So that was my extent of, and I've never done any other illicit substance other than the beer occasionally.
Bro.
Yeah. Again, I think this is a common theme throughout when we talk too. Is like we had very different childhoods.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I first moved out, that's all I did was fucking smoke weed.
Yeah, we would find just smoking the weed got so boring that we would try to find like different places to smoke weed.
Oh.
Like we'd try to go up on top of
Dude,
buildings and
me and my cousin who I first moved out with. That's who I first lived with when I first moved out, right? Before that, he'd come pick me up from my house, and we would just go driving around Wichita until we smoked 2 blunts.
Yeah.
And then we'd go home.
Yeah, it was a rite of passage for me with my older brother to like be in his house to know how to roll a blunt.
Yeah.
So we had to sit there and go through class and like and learn this.
It's really, really fucking hard.
That's why I relate with the dude who got his head cut off. When he got his head cut off and like his head rolled over there and he was like, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've been that guy. I know. I think there was a time in my life where if my head would have got cut off and it rolled down and like whatever, I'd have been like, huh, cool.
Yeah,
That was sweet.
and like Anton, he's smoking weed. He's kind of just watching TV, and then he smokes, like I guess it's supposed to be a bowl of weed or whatever when in his little inhaler thing.
Yeah, that's the first thing I noticed. I was like, oh, homeboy's got asthma and he has to like wear it around his. No.
And so he can
Not a
and so he
thing.
can carry his pipe with him at all times.
At all times. and it looks like a puffer. Like
Yeah. You know, the cops say that to him. Is like, what's this? It's like it's an asthma inhaler. You idiot.
Yeah, it's for his asthma.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
He might have a real inhaler,
Yeah,
and not just an old one.
true.
You know.
Hey, that is me. I am that guy.
Yeah.
I have asthma. And I smoked a lot of
And
weed.
he smokes all of it, and then he realizes that he's out. And this is when we meet the two best characters in the entire movie.
Yeah.
Because we have Anton calls Eldon Henson's character, which his name is Penub, to ask him if he has any weed. And he's like, yeah. He's like, can you bring it over to me? He's
Well,
like,
he specifically asked if he's holding.
yeah, he's holding. Yeah, he's like, yeah. He's like, can you bring it over to me? He's like, this isn't Domino's, bitch.
You lazy bitch.
Yeah. He's like, come on, dude.
I'm comfortable.
I'm comfortable. And then he hangs up on him. So he has to go across the street. He doesn't put any pants on.
Yeah, homie forgets to put pants
He has
on.
a hoodie, a gray T-shirt, boxer shorts, and pink rabbit slippers.
Pink rabbit slippers. Well, pink fuzzy slippers.
Pink fuzzy slippers when he goes across the street. And then I actually like this scene because we start to meet the entire cast.
Yeah.
Through this sequence because we meet Anton, and then as he's crossing the street, we meet Jack Noseworthy, who plays Randy.
Yep.
And he's like, nice outfit. And we get to hear his theme song, which is
Shout at the Devil.
by Motley Crue. It plays every time it plays. It's like
Every time Randy's on screen, that song's
it
playing.
just goes shout, and we're like,
It's only the core. Yeah, it's only the
it's only that part. Yeah. And then so he climbs into the basement, and then as we're
I love the fact he didn't go to the front door. He goes specifically over to that window and climbs down into the basement.
because we don't know whose house it is, and we don't know if parents are there.
I
I think it's Penub's house.
I think it's Nub's house.
Okay. If you looked around the room, some of the posters they had on the wall, bro.
I didn't have a single one of them. They were also playing Sublime,
Yeah.
which I'm not a fan of.
Sublime was one of the posters on the.
Yeah, it was, and they were playing Sublime because you can hear it as him and as Penub and Mick are smoking from the boob bong.
Yeah, there was a funny. Continue.
That scene just reminded me of Harold and Kumar. You know, whenever he's like, yeah, I think Harold and Kumar are gay for each other. He's like, oh yeah, they're total fagels.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you want to suck on this? So he's like asking, he's like, hey man, you got anything? He's like, no, I'm dry, man. And he's like, you said you were holding. And he's like, well, I didn't say what I was holding. He grabs his dick. And they're kind of like having a bunch of like banter, like kind of dialogue about like a killer being on the loose. And we start to kind of get some background about what's happening in the town. Is that there's been like 3 different kills. One being these twins that work at one of the fast food restaurants.
And they hear it on the news.
They hear it on the
And he's like, I hate that show.
Yeah, I hate that show. And they're kind of talking about like, hey, you go into the dance. There's like a Halloween dance the next day. And he's like, no. He's like, what dance? And they're like, well, if you've been to school in the last 6 months, you would know that there's a dance. It's like, curfew, no trick-or-treating. It's like the only fucking thing to do and stuff. And then then throughout that, we meet Molly, who is played by Jessica Alba.
And she's on her
fucking
Vespa
moped, something like that. And
Something like that, yeah. Well, it sounds like a motorcycle because that's how they hear it. They hear,
it's like, yeah, that's not what a fucking Vespa sounds like.
Right.
But
Sorry about the Vespa.
she's driving, and we kind of get the sense that Anton has like a crush on her. They've lived across the street from each other for a long time. He just never had the balls to ever say anything, like talk to her and stuff like that. But she drops her book, which is her lyric book, and he, takes it over there. They're making fun. There's like, oh, you should go, go talk to her, man. Like, I don't know, tell her your name.
Yeah.
And then of course he tries to go, and Penob's like, hey, you want some pants, Chief? And he's like,
First impressions
impressions and all, and he's like, yeah, good call. And he goes over there and tries to give her the book, and then of course he acts like an asshole. You know, it's like fucking all awkward and shit, just runs away, which is fair. It's probably how I would be around Jessica Alba. And then this is when we meet Vivica A. Fox, who was dressed as a nun, as you pointed out, geniusly.
But not
Yes.
a nun.
Thank you.
And she's walking into like a prison and stuff like that. They have like anything Miss Liquor. It's liqueur.
It's liqueur.
Debbie is fine. And then she sees one of the prisoners and his hands all shriveled up. And we had this fucking stupid shit where she goes into like her fucking trailer and she has all these costumes. It's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And then she, puts all the points on the map and conveniently all of them turn into the pentagram. Even though she didn't even fucking match all the goddamn points on the map.
Yeah, and then she circles like most of the western part of the United States, and she's like, "Oh, it must be around here somewhere."
Oh, fuck out of here.
Yeah,
It's so stupid. The script for this movie isn't good. While we were with Penub and Mick, they were talking about like, I hear if you mix nutmeg and oregano, you can get pretty wasted. But this is Anton as he's grocery shopping. And he runs into the cops, which has some of my favorite, like, funny moments in it.
Yeah, played by other horror icon Sean Whalen.
Sean Whalen.
Yeah.
There are two Twister alumni in this movie.
Yeah. Because there was the guy that was like, let's keep it clean, people, when they were in the Jungle Barn.
Yeah, that's Joey from Twister.
From
yeah.
Twister. Apparently the Sean Whalen and the other cop who is pretty much an unknown guy. Apparently none of their dialogue was actually scripted. It's all just.
It's so fucking good.
Yeah.
Because they run him into the fucking fence and shit like that, and he's making fun of him because apparently they
were dorks.
They were dorks and shit like that.
Yeah, but you were dorks.
And they start, searching him or whatever, and they find one of my favorite lines. Like he pulls a dollar bill. He's like, George has a new home.
Yeah, it's just, it would have mattered. It would have mattered if it was a Jackson.
It's so stupid.
George has a new
home, and then they grab a baggie out of his.
It's like, oh, you forgot about empty your pockets. Nice try, but these aren't even my pants.
Yeah. They're just some great fucking lines in this part. Yeah. And then they smell the baggie. He's like, it smells like marijuana. He's like,
you can't arrest me for possession of a baggie.
He's like, and then they drop. It's like
littering.
Full fine. He's like, whatever. So he goes
littering
home.
Littering and
smoking the reefer.
Smoking the reefer.
And then he goes home and he's I love that he's rolling the joint in the ticket.
In the ticket, yeah.
He smokes the shit and fucking almost
dies. Well, I love the fact that he doesn't even lick, he doesn't lick the rolling paper. He makes a dog do it. Poor Duke.
Yeah, and you were saying that he did the soap thing on the spot where he
did. So when he's like trying to flush his mouth out, like he
after he
did the take, and then he's like, I can do something funnier if you'll put a bottle of soap up there. So they reshot the take where he's putting his mouth under the sink and he grabs soap and that was real soap.
Yeah, he's doing some great slap. I mean, he's doing like Jim Carrey slaps.
This is one of his first quote unquote adult. Like he's been in other stuff, but this is like the first thing he's done that he's been an adult doing. Yeah. Everything else he's done like kiddie movies. This is like
getting these little scares with Anton. Where, he starts hearing shit.
Well, he makes the world's grossest... right after he washes his mouth out, he makes the world's grossest
the most
bologna.
Disgusting bologna sandwich.
I didn't mention this. I ate so much bologna when I was a kid because it was the cheapest lunch meat you could get. Yeah, I can't eat it as an adult. It's just...
I don't like bologna.
I don't like bologna.
It's like a flat hot dog.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. Yeah. Yeah, it's chicken feet and pig assholes.
Yeah. So he starts like, oh my god, the killer's in the house.
Yeah,
and there's like
the shit he does with Duke is so good.
Yeah,
because he grabs Duke.
Right after he does that, he fucking like hugs him. He's like holding him, and then
he goes upstairs and he pushes Duke out first. Like, if you're gonna die, I'm gonna have you kill the dog first. Yeah. I was like, poor Duke.
Yeah, and then they go into their parents' room
and hide under
they're hiding under the sheets or whatever. And he's like, hold on, Duke, let me grab the phone. And then he's like kind of mixed up in the sheets or whatever. and it flips him over.
It flips him over.
And
And again, this is just more great physical comedy
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
Devon Sawa.
and he sees the writing again, and
Yeah.
he's like freaking out. He's like, "Come on, Duke!" And Duke just doesn't fucking move. He just
Yeah.
stays there. And that's when he trips over some shit, which is some other great physical comedy. And he runs into the pumpkins that are set up in the living room. And then we notice that this is when we realize that both of his parents are. We knew that they were dead.
We knew they were dead. He
But
didn't.
He didn't. This is his realization that he is now up to speed with the audience.
Yeah.
And we see that one of his mom's eyes is missing.
Which the cat was playing
Yeah,
with.
we saw Bones eating.
Eating the eye, yeah.
And that's when Penub and Mick come over there. And
They see the video on the
It's so
TV.
funny because he's bringing him in. They're like, oh my God. And they're like, man, they never show this video. And it's like, pop that coochie, pop that coochie.
It's a bunch of girls in bikinis popping the coochie.
And the dead people are just
they're
laying
2
there.
feet from them, you know.
And then he turns out the thing. He's like, come on, man. And then they notice that the dead body's there and they freak out.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite parts is his mom has a piece of a gray shirt, and then Seth Green picks it up. He's like, a clue.
Well, there was also the Penub gets down on his hands and knees and starts pounding on Mr. Tobias'
He's like,
chest.
what the fuck are you doing?
He's like, I saw it on Baywatch.
I saw it on.
Doing CPR, I saw it on Baywatch.
And then we see ant written
Yeah.
on the floor or whatever, and then Penub's like, they were killed by ants. He's like, don't be stupid.
Do you have like an evil ant or something? Like that's a better explanation somehow.
And then we get the realization that Anton is the one that
Yeah,
killed
because he's
him.
got the glow in the dark paint on his hands.
Yeah, 'cause he's like, I think the killer was wearing your shirt. He's like,
the killer was wearing your shirt.
yeah, he's like, and the killer was wearing me. It's so fucking awesome. And then we get the kills of Penub and Mick.
Yeah.
Where Mick is going to call the police. And Anton finds him in the kitchen, and he's like, "Oh man, don't worry, man. I'm not gonna hurt you," and stuff like that. And he takes the fucking bottle and just shoves it into his head.
Yeah.
And I love when he's trying to wake him up, and you can hear the liquid
liquid
in the bottle
jostling
jostling around. and then he starts chasing after Penub.
Chase him down to the basement.
He's trying to tell him, he's like, you need to get out of here, man. He's like, I don't want to hurt you and stuff like that. And Penub runs down to the basement. He's like, don't go in the basement. You can't get out there. And then he's trying to tell him, he's like, you need to get away from me and stuff like that. And he starts running up the stairs, and Anton grabs the saw blade.
And Ninja
The
throws
whole
it.
time it's Penub's like, everything's gonna be cool, everything's gonna be cool, everything's gonna be cool. And then he hits him that last time, he's like, everything's gonna be, and then his head rolls down. Cool. And then we get the remote sequence.
The remote. I fucking love this.
Oh,
sequence.
and when he runs into the pillar.
He runs into the pillar. Yeah, it had to film. What'd you say? It was like 5 times, 6
Yeah.
times, and he hit that pillar the same way every single time.
Yeah, they said that that was an actual sound. It wasn't an effect or like a sound bite.
That
or
was just
something.
him hitting the
It was
pillar.
literally him hitting the pillar.
Yeah,
and
he
did that.
he
so
puts
many
everything
times.
into this movie.
Like I said, his physical comedy in this is top notch. Like
Yeah.
just the mannerisms with the hand. Now we get to
the remote sequence,
remote sequence.
where basically there's like a really scary thing playing on the TV.
Yeah, with like a hand coming out of grave.
Yeah,
and
and it's like
everything.
says chiller and stuff like that. And Anton's like, fuck this, I'm not watching this after this. So he changed it to cartoons.
Yeah.
And then
The
the
hand.
possessed hand keeps stealing the remote from him and changing it back to that channel.
Yeah, it was that remote flip, and then
Yeah.
it was the remote flip, and then him reaching over with the other hand to grab it. I was like, man,
It's
he's
so
so
awesome.
good.
And then he finally gets it away from the hand, and he's all happy because like Bones is trying to fuck with him while he's fuck, and he finally grabs it. He's like, ha. And then he changes it back or whatever, and then he grabs that, and then that hand grabs that fucking cat and just tosses that fucker right out the fucking window.
He lassos, he like grabs hold of the tail, and just one hand, and you hear this. Bones.
And then
Kendall laughed so hard at that
was
scene.
so fucking funny, dude.
So good.
And then Bones lands in fucking Molly's bushes. I know, right?
Yeah, right.
And he goes over there
Across the street.
Yeah, and this is where I start to get fucking irritated.
Oh yeah,
with
he
this
fucking
script.
yeeted that
Yeah,
cat
yeah.
across the street.
But
man.
this is where I start to get irritated with this script.
Yeah, this is the moment where the movie goes it takes a downturn because of Molly's writing.
And I don't know if it's the writing or this is what the director wanted to do. We don't really know. Because I'd have to look at the script. It's just fucking weird. So he goes over to try to get the cat, and the hand reaches over him on the porch, and he's like ringing the doorbell
like a
crazy.
psychopath.
And then
This was another thing about the physical comedy that I loved. He grabs hold of that thing, and he just fucking flings himself over the railing.
Yeah, like he does like a full like front flip over the fucking railing.
Yeah.
And I love how he has his foot on the door so he can push himself, and
he flips back over the railing and back into the bush.
And then Molly answers the door, and she's being all fucking weird about it. Like this kid is covered in blood.
Yeah.
He's
wearing the same clothes that you saw him in earlier today, which I know is not a big deal, but it probably smells bad.
Yeah, and then
it's probably the same clothes you've been wearing for days.
He's just lurking in your bushes.
Yeah.
And
she's answering the door in a robe and a very tight, small tank
fine.
top.
I mean, it's
boy underwear shorts.
It's probably like pajamas. It's probably what she wears to bed. I would
maybe, but I wouldn't answer the door that way.
Yeah.
I'm not a girl, so I don't know. If you do answer your door like that, please send your address to Cage or her boss.
She's probably very confident with herself.
Well, I mean, you look like Jessica Alba. You're kind of confident in yourself.
But she has that like type of personality where she's like very like
she's very outgoing
and outspoken and stuff like that. She kind of just like does what she wants. That's just kind of her personality, and that's fine. But then she brings this dude into her house covered in blood
to her room.
I don't know what she's doing over there, where she's bending over.
Yeah.
Is she like...
She's starting music. She was playing
Why
music.
is it taking so long? Just put a fucking tape in.
Yeah, or just push play. You probably already had something in there.
Yeah, whatever. He doesn't care. Like if I'm in her room, I'm like, yeah, put on whatever you want. Whatever. It doesn't... I'll probably like it. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know,
we could fuck to the German infantry march from 1942. Like I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good piece.
I'm gonna like it.
Yeah, I mean it's fine.
I mean, it's a good piece of music.
It's connotations.
Context
is king.
But like as a piece of music, it's
fine.
Good.
Yeah. We're gonna get more into German music when we review Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah. But yeah, and then he like grabs her ass.
And
like,
she's into it.
She's like, oh my God, I can't believe you.
And again,
just started talking like 5 minutes ago.
And again, I'm not here to yuck on anyone's yum.
The dialogue in this
but
scene
the dialogue
is
so
horrendous.
Bad. Like,
and then he's like, so she like throws him on the bed and starts kissing him. I'm like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, this would never happen.
And it's not because Devon Sawa's not a good-looking guy.
He's a good-looking guy.
He's a very attractive.
He's a very attractive man.
He was a teen heartthrob for Christ's sakes. Like he's a good-looking dude. Like in Final Destination, he's very good-looking.
Yeah, definitely a cover man for Tiger Beat.
Yeah, but like it's not that. He's fucking weird, dude.
Mm-hmm. And then he grabs a hold of her while she's kissing him. He grabs a hold of her neck, and you can hear her going,
it
hurts.
Yeah,
right. And then so he moves the hand again. He does it again, and she's still just like blah, 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 all over his face. Till he finally ties the hand up. And she's like, ooh, you're kinky. Bitch, what?
Yeah, this is fucking insane.
This is
what
really
are you
weird.
doing?
Yeah, any other woman would be like...
And listen, you know 4 people in your town has been murdered. Mm-hmm. And now you're doing this with some guy you barely know.
That's covered in blood.
It's covered in blood.
There is a bunch of like...
Are you dumb?
There is a bunch of stuff in this movie where I'm like, yeah, I feel like a bunch of guys figured out what we were going to do here. But there's a woman that wrote this script. How much did she have to do with this? Because it couldn't be much.
I
did she like write the title? Because it wasn't anything else.
I don't know.
Because
maybe she wrote
there's just scenes that don't mean anything. That's like male gazy as fuck.
Yeah, like the end where he goes to try to get her off
and
the
the fucking and the car scene at the fucking dance.
The car scene at the dance.
It does not need to be there.
It doesn't need to be there.
They introduced these 2 characters just to have them get killed and
which
one of them to get topless.
We don't actually hear their names.
Curtis is one.
Yeah.
The girl, you don't know her name.
That's right, because when they find their bodies, and he's like, man, that Put Up's like, man, that sucks. He's like, I didn't think you liked Curtis. That's how we know the guy's name is after he's dead.
And she says that too. She's like, my makeup is sweating off Curtis.
Yeah.
Yeah. She
so
says
like
that,
we don't know like so there was no
and they're friends with Randy. That's the only other thing we know about them.
That's it.
There's no fucking reason
they did not even need to be in the movie.
No.
for it to continue.
There are a lot of male gazy like things that happen in this movie.
And it wasn't for runtime because the movie was was just a little bit over an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And those two in this movie encapsulates a minute and a half.
Yeah.
This movie I feel like was written for late teen, early 20. Like you said, the demographic was 18 to 30. So you got to have like the vapid girl in distress. You got to have the girl, the main character. She doesn't count as a final girl because she does absolutely nothing to survive. Where they get her scantily clad. I'm positive they probably tried to talk Jessica Alba into having the top ripped off, and she was like, not a fucking chance.
That would never fucking happen.
And then you probably
then
they had that scene where the girl gets topless in the car, and none of it was necessary.
No. It's male gaze
Mm-hmm.
if I've ever seen it. And I don't know.
And that's GAZE, not GAYS.
Yeah, and I don't know if you know what male gaze is. It's basically if you've watched a movie, that's male gaze. Most of it is okay. It's specifically done in horror movies, and I will give you a very good example. There is a really shitty movie. It's a remake of House of Wax. Stars Paris Hilton.
Jesus.
The entire but it's a
Sweet Jesus.
But it is an unbelievably great example.
Yeah,
and it happens in one scene. So Paris Hilton is about to get it on with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend is the dude from Cousin. You remember Cousin Skeeter? Mm-hmm. Do you remember the main cousin Bobby, the main guy, the black dude?
Yeah,
he's in that movie.
Okay.
So he's Paris Hilton's boyfriend, and they're about to get down. Well, when Paris Hilton is stripping out of her Russian tracksuit
for no reason, why is she wearing that?
But it's like it goes up and down her body, sees every inch of that body. That camera's just hugging it. And then when he does it, when he is getting naked, fucking off screen, never see it.
Yeah,
that's male gaze.
Yeah.
So
guys,
you're saying you want to see some dick?
No, yeah, show some dick, bro. Yeah, show some dick. But it
equal opportunity, right?
You will see male gaze in almost every fucking movie that you see because of the fact that just by percentages, a lot of men have made movies.
Yeah. And
so so are they appealing to? So is it the guys making the movies that are like, this is what we want to see, or are they thinking there's more men gonna watch this movie?
There's more men that are gonna watch this movie, and this is what they think this is what the guys want to see.
Yeah, that's why they came to watch this movie, was to see this.
Yeah.
But do you think? But okay, so let's say.
Well, they came for other things, but But we're really gonna hook them in with this,
right?
Because what did I say right before she got topless? I said, Kendall, are you ready to see probably one of the greatest set of tits in a horror movie?
That's what you said.
I did, because that's what that scene right there was intended to do.
There was no other purpose to it.
There was no other purpose to it, and I said that specifically to bring attention to that scene because it is so fucking unnecessary.
Right.
It almost takes you out. It almost takes you out. It was done for what, a gag, so that the hand could crawl up her tits while the other guy's fondling them.
Yeah, we have enough kills in this movie.
We have enough kills. We don't need those two. Yeah, there's plenty. I mean, they're about to unleash a massacre inside the gym.
But this is interesting. Like, so if there's women that watch this movie, because there obviously was,
there's some.
Do you think? But do you think that women would watch a movie more because there's a penis in it?
No,
I don't think so.
No, because it's like dicks are gross.
Well,
like,
it's also the complete opposite of what male directors and male studio heads think people want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, like nobody wants to see a dick.
Like this, and I'm okay. So I'm about to piss off every male listener here, but women want more substance to their. Men are very simple creatures. Blood, tits, violence. Boom, done. That's what the average male wants in a movie.
Nobody's sitting at this table. Like me personally, like I can watch a movie with no tits in it and have be
it's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
No,
it doesn't have to have tits, blood, or violence in it. And I can still enjoy it.
I get uncomfortable when there's tits in a movie. I'm just saying that. I do.
Love you, Jamie.
I love you, babe.
For
well, if I'm watching it with my wife, of course I'm going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Another interesting fact is the most shocking ending to a movie is, well, I mean, it's the
Oh,
fact
when we
that
see a dick?
we saw a dick.
Oh
And it's
my
the most-
lord!
oh
Oh
my
my
dick.
dick!
And that was the most shocking ending to a movie. And
But
there was a dick involved.
Yeah, that scene just irritated me.
There's a lot of irritating scenes in this movie.
Yeah, that really pissed me off. So anyway,
Like her costume irritates me, but again, that was
Right.
for the male gaze.
I don't mind the costume until they fucking
Rip it off.
There's no fucking reason for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we cut back to Anton, and he's like burying all the bodies, and then he says a prayer. Says a prayer.
He's
about,
like, yeah, he's like, Mom, Dad, you put a roof over my head, you fed me, and then I killed you. So I guess maybe
Horrible
I'm
eulogy.
not the best son.
yeah, and he's like, I mean, Meg Panub, we kind of just sat around and smoked weed, and then I guess that's pretty much all we did.
Yeah.
And then we start to hear Mick, yelling at Anton through the ground, and it's all muffled and shit. And he's like, Anton, hold me out, I can't
breathe.
and and then they start to come out of the fucking ground, and then Mick and Panub are fucking zombies.
Yeah.
Mick's got that fucking bottle hanging out of his head,
Yeah.
and Panub's walking around with his fucking head.
Yeah. they clock Anton with the shovel.
Yeah, and then he wakes up in the attic the next morning, and he's like, "Fuck, what a fucked up dream that was."
Yeah.
And then he walks down, and there's zombified corpses chilling,
Yeah.
eating fucking cheesy poops.
Yeah, he's throwing them in his mouth. In his fucking
Which
head that's sitting on the couch.
So when we first met Nick and Panub, Mick and Panub, they were throwing the cheesy poof scene. That was improvised. That was just something that Seth Green and Ellen Henson thought would be funny, and so they just threw it in, and him actually catching it. That was just apparently one of Eldon Henson's.
He's
talents.
really good at, like, if you throw something at him, he can just catch it with his mouth.
Yeah.
And then they start talking about idle hands, or like the Devil's Playground and stuff like that.
Well, this is before that they talk about
they talk about
what are you doing here? Why he's like, were you in hell? He's like, why would we go to hell? We're not bad people. It's not like we walk around killing people.
It's like, we're not good, but we're not, we don't go walk around killing people. It's like there was this light, and then we were walking towards it.
We heard all these women saying come towards the light. Come towards the light.
Sounded like Inya.
Sounded like Inya or some shit.
And then we were just like, it's really far.
And you're like, fuck it. What do you mean, fuck it? Well, it's like really far.
Like really far. And then he's kind of asking him about the devil shit and stuff like that. He's like, well, if you want to know anything about the devil, just go ask Randy.
Yeah.
And then he's like trying to talk to Randy at
The Burger Jungle,
which is where the Feldstein twins got murdered.
It's so weird.
Dude,
this is again, Randy is not a good guy.
There is a lot of problematic shit.
We'd already seen him drinking beer, so we knew he's probably over the age of 21. Like he's doing it in public. So if a cop drove by and he wasn't over, but he starts hitting on Tanya, and she's like, I just thought again, problematic because, like, this is obviously made in the 90s because she uses the tard word, which we don't use. We're just quoting it for the movie. And she's
he
like,
says the F word.
He says the F word.
Which isn't fuck. It's the other one.
Yeah, which I guess that was just him. He actually, so Jack Noseworthy is openly gay. Has been his entire career in Hollywood. Never has a problem talking about it. He also is not offended by the word. He just does it. He's like, it's a word. Who gives a shit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you go to England and say that word, you're talking about a cigarette. But he's clearly over the age of 21 because he even says to Tanya, he's like, you still in high school? Yeah. Oh yeah, I got it about 3 years myself. Like, so you're over the age of 21 and
Obviously,
you're hitting on a teenage girl.
And then,
get fucked, bro.
Yeah, and then Anton runs up on him and
Cock blocks him.
And, yeah, that's what he says. He's like, you totally cock blocked me there. I thought we were buds. And then he tried to talk to him, and then Randy drives around,
runs over
the memorial for the Feldstein twins, and then goes through the drive-through. And Anton grabs their uniform that was on their memorial, and he goes into the restaurant. We see an amazing cameo that we talked about before we cut out was the man working the drive-thru is Tom DeLonge from Blink-182, which is
Break time. Cool.
It is such a weird fucking cameo. And then he's talking to Randy through the drive-thru, and I love whenever you see him on the little screen, and he's like, "I got your fucking mind." It's just it's a fucking hilarious cut.
Yeah.
And then he's kind of telling him, he's like, "Oh yeah, that's what they say, the idle hands are the devil's playground and stuff like that." And he's like, I mean. He's like, that's why I'm always working on the Ford.
Yeah, he really loves that truck. Big truck.
He's like, man, I gotta keeps me out of trouble. And then we do like a nice fucking smash cut into him sewing while Dragula's playing.
Yeah, knitting while watching Rob Zombie, the Rob Zombie Dragula video.
And they're like, dude, it's like it's not like literal. It's like metaphorical, right?
Like all metaphorical.
And of course, he says some derogatory homosexual thing. He's like,
yeah, you look really Q-worded.
Yeah,
doing that.
And then the two cops from earlier show up at his house, and he sees the two zombified corpses.
How do you feel about the practical effects on Penub and Mick?
Oh, I think they did a really good job.
Yeah,
I think there are certain times that Penub's head looks weird.
Well, it's because it's animatronic.
Yeah, there are times when it looks funky. We get these sweet fucking kills by those cops because Anton the whole time he's like knitting while they have him at gunpoint. He's like, just cuff me. He's like, just take me to jail.
I was going to tell you to surrender yourself to them, but now they shot me in the head. I say, fucking kill them.
Yeah, and he's just like, just take me to jail. And he's like, all right. They're like, put down the knitting needles. And he's like, no, just cuff me. And then he takes one of those fucking knitting needles and shoves it right through the cop's ear.
Yeah.
It's a fucking sweet kill.
All the way to the other.
Yeah, while Dragula is blaring in this scene.
Yeah.
And then and probably like the weakest kill of the movie
is the Sean Whalen kill.
The Sean Whalen kill, which sucks because it's Sean Whalen, but when he fucking tasers his face or whatever. This is whenever he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna cut this goddamn hand off. I just can't do it anymore. And he goes into the kitchen. Does look like a nice little tourniquet.
Not really.
With the rubber band. I mean, fuck it.
A fucking rubber band.
I mean, what are you gonna do?
Do a real tourniquet with a belt?
Yeah.
I mean, whatever.
I mean,
he's a loser slacker.
Yeah. And then he
doesn't know how to
puts
do
it
it
underneath that bagel cutter.
Now, was the bagel guillotine a real thing?
Probably not. It's probably something they made up.
Was that I don't remember
I
that
have
as a
never
kid,
seen one.
so-
I've never seen one.
But I love when Penup's like, that thing doesn't even cut my bagel.
Yeah.
And then it fucking just bends. I love the way it just like
It conforms around his
wrist and stuff. It's so funny.
Yeah.
And then he tells Mick, he's like, hey, grab the electric knife. Or
And this
whatever.
is a great line.
Yeah,
too.
he's just like, ha, 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 look at me, I'm Leatherface. And then it just unplugs, and he's like, come on, man.
Why did they just plug it back in?
I don't know.
Anyways.
Or took him over to it.
This is where come over here.
Yeah, and then he pulls out that fucking meat cleaver, which is the right thing to do. And he's trying to hit the hand, but it keeps moving or whatever. But I love this before that when he pulled out the meat cleaver. Penub's like, I can't look at this, and he turns his head around.
Yeah. This is just little tidbits of
That
comedy.
was
like
good.
so funny.
That was good.
And then
hints.
he can't hit the hand or whatever. And then he tells Penub to, hey, bite down on my hand.
Don't hit me, man.
Yeah, and then he cuts the hand off. He lets out this like girly scream. He's like, man, you scream like a girl. I love when Penub just just spits out the hand.
Yeah. And then so Mick runs into the laundry room and gets a cold iron. Because it's clearly not plugged in.
We have to cauterize the room. Have you ever seen ER? Yeah, and they're like, okay, do you have any like first aid antiseptic? He's like, no. He's like, okay, we have some, but Penub's got some at his house. He's like, ooh, and frozen burritos.
Which will be important here very soon.
Yeah, and then they go across the street, and then this is when Molly's showing up for the Halloween dance.
Yeah,
and then
she's in that angel costume.
She's in that angel costume.
It's fine.
And then he starts hearing noises of the hand moving around and shit like that, and it's like crawling on the fucking ceiling and shit. I love this shit with the hand. It's so fucking funny.
Yeah,
especially when it's detached.
This is where Christopher Hart comes in.
Yeah, this is
right.
and this is who played Thing from Adam Sandler.
He threw the hand in a microwave, turned it on, and it like does that. I always thought that scene was real gross.
Oh, when he's in the microwave,
when the hand is in the
and it's
microwave.
all like spurting blood
From the tips of the fingers, and it's
so
like
cool.
deforming and everything, which makes a very cool effect for the hand going forward to the rest of the movie.
Yeah, because then it looks like
it's monstrous.
It's like monstrous. It's like a zombie hand. That's like it's so fucking cool looking.
Yeah.
And he leaves with Molly. because she's banging on the door the whole time, and he's like, just stay out there, because of course, as she comes in, she's gonna see all the dead bodies that are in there, because there's the two cops that are in that house currently, and then the blood that's fucking everywhere. And then he tells her, it's like, okay, well, he's like, hey, my parents are gonna be home soon, so if they see the mess I made with my costume, they're gonna be pissed.
Yeah. What are you supposed to be? Fast food employee that cut his hand off?
Yeah. He's got this like stump, and then he's got like a fucking grocery bag over it.
Yeah, Mick wrapped it in like a dish towel and then a grocery bag.
And then Mick and Penub show back up.
Hey, we've got antiseptics and we got bandages, the ouchless kind.
The ouchless kind.
Yeah.
And then Mick and Penub are getting ready to make the burritos, because I love when he's like reading it. He's like his body. He
holds it down in front
in front of his head.
Yeah.
And then it's like, dude, this is bugging me.
He gets that fucking fork.
Yeah. That grilling fork sticks it in the top of his head and then attaches. I'm assuming that they were starting to run out of money, so they were like, we got to figure out a way to get Eldon Henson's head back on his body. So let's just apparently Seth Green and Eldon Henson only got to shoot for 1 week before they had to go into makeup for the entire rest of the shoot of the movie.
Well, yeah, they're zombies for most of this movie. Yeah.
So.
And then and he puts that on. They're cooking up the burritos.
Well, you missed the part. You missed the part after he.
when he opened. Yeah, he's looking at the microwave.
He's like, oh, that's gross.
He's like, you think we should clean it? It's just like, oh yeah, and after that we'll clean the whole fucking house.
and then it's the face afterward, because he kind of makes this. Face.
Yeah, because you were cracking the fuck up when he said there were like 3 distinct times that I remember him cracking the fuck up, and one's coming later. And then so they open the microwave door, and that fucking hand just goes
flies out
the window, breaks through the window. It's like a fucking Looney Tunes cartoon.
Yeah. Whee!
And then fucking. And then is this when we go to Randy in the bowling alley?
Hey, they start making the burritos. We go to Randy in the bowling alley, and this is where Debbie LaCour.
Yeah, she
they
shows
eat the
up.
burritos and
that's next, because Anton has to come back.
And then this is kind of when Debbie when we get the Debbie and Randy team up.
Yeah, and we get the full story.
And then because we meet Curtis and his girlfriend. They're going to the dance or whatever, and he's like, I'll meet you there, and blah blah blah, because he sees Debbie, and he's like, I'm gonna go talk to her. And she tells him the whole fucking story, and he's like,
that she's a member of an ancient druidic priestesses, and their sole purpose is to find this one type of evil and eliminate it. And she explains the whole thing. The demon that possesses the biggest loser, the biggest slacker, whatever. And and then Randy's like, I know a guy who said something about his hand doing weird shit.
and she's like, you fucking with me? And he's like, no, I'll take you to him right now. And so they're heading over to Anton's house.
Yeah. Then we come back to Anton coming back in, and they're eating the burritos, and Seth Green's like, I'll get the next one.
And he starts eating that burrito, and he's like, oh.
As he's swallowing it,
and it just oozes out of his fucking neck hole.
That effect apparently was made with apple cinnamon applesauce.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
because it kind of looks like apple butter.
It is.
Apple butter.
Yeah, it's applesauce. Yeah. Which I loved Eldon Henson like ad-libbing the fact that he takes it and then licks his finger. He like gets a little bit on his finger and licks it. And I was like, I'm like, oh, it's gross. But now that I know what it is, it's fine.
Yeah.
But he ad-libbed that.
Like,
ew. Oh, ew.
Yeah.
I can fix that.
Yeah, I can fix that. And he puts that duct tape around his neck. He's like, oh, thanks, man.
Better. Yeah.
And then.
Seth Green is a very handy person to be around if you ever get to be headed.
And then Anton shows back up, and he's like, "No, you let it go." And he's like,
"No." And he's like, "Sorry, man, we only had 2 burritos." Like he thought that was why Anton was upset.
Oh man, dude, they fucking kill me in this movie. They're the best. Like this movie would seriously suck without them.
Yeah.
I mean, can I get a spin-off movie of just those guys?
Actually, Seth Green has been trying really hard to get a legacy reimagining of it with the original cast.
God, that would be so awesome. I would love just a spin-off movie of Panava and Mick.
Yeah, just like in heaven.
Yeah, that would be the best. And then they're like, we got to go find this fucking hand. and they're getting ready to leave for the dance.
I love that. It's like he's like, "Why don't you take a little Anton time?" And he starts to give that speech, and he's like, stop it! I can't listen to your speech. Let's just go."
Yeah, and then they steal Randy's truck. They run over Debbie
LaCour.
Yeah, and they're like, "What was that?" He's like, "Who fucking cares?"
Yeah.
And then they just leave.
Yeah.
And then
There was a little bit of a movie mistake because we mentioned that Devon Sawa did not have a driver's license, so he couldn't drive any of the cars, right? Well, the person who was the body double for Devon Sawa at that particular moment accidentally, when he was turning the wheel of the car, he accidentally reached over with his right hand and yanked the wheel. So there was a little bit of a movie mistake, but I mean, who fucking cares?
Yeah, and like Randy tries to give her mouth to mouth, and she's like,
"Who's got the barf breath?"
Barf breath. And then he smiles at her.
Yeah, he's like,
they're
they're starting to hit it off.
Yeah.
And then we get to the dance. We get the totally inconsequential scene of Curtis and his girlfriend.
Whatever her name
her
is.
tits, and then we get those 2 kills, which one of them sucks. It's just her getting her fucking neck snapped.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then his kill is cool where he gets fucking rammed into the...
Yeah, and then there was blood splatter.
Yeah, and then the 3 amigos show up to the to the dance, and they go...
Oh, man, that sucks. I thought you didn't like Curtis. I'm talking about that ass.
And we go in, and we see the Offspring. It's the Offspring.
Yay. He's wearing an AFI t-shirt.
Yep,
Another California punk band.
Yeah, yep. Davey Havoc.
Yep.
Love AFI. AFI rules.
Whatever. You're like the guy who wears a shirt that just is a band that nobody's ever heard of.
I just named the lead singer of
AFI,
Davey Havoc.
Cool.
Miseria Cantare, fucking great song.
Cool. You know that look you give me whenever I make a Star Trek reference? Mm-hmm. I'm making that look right now.
CM Punk used it as his entrance music.
Cool. I actually do have
have it on your playlist.
I do have it on that playlist because it is a cool song.
It is a good song,
but it's only a minute and a half long.
Yeah, it's a great album. That whole album is fucking the shit. Sing the Sorrow.
Cool.
So Offspring, they're doing a cover of "I Want to Be Sedated"
by the Offspring,
by the
Ramones. Sorry.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh, hey, it's the Offspring, and it's the entire Offspring.
Yeah,
it's not just Dexter. It's all of
Dexter's the only one who gets, because he has a line. He's the only one that gets billing in the movie. The rest of the band, like it's lead singer Dexter.
I wonder
what's Dexter's last name?
I can't remember what his last name.
I just know him as Dexter. And then the band is the Offspring.
I wonder if that's the only reason he got credits because he had a line.
I think maybe it might have been a SAG thing.
Huh? That's weird. And so they're like Anton's looking for.
Tanya and Molly are
dancing is weird.
It's so weird. Well, because Molly is dancing angry, and it's so fucking weird. It's like if you've ever played World of Warcraft, it's the way the female undead dances. They do this thing, and so Molly's doing that dance. Yeah, and it's so fucking weird. It's like, girl, did you never learn how to dance?
Yeah,
Tanya's getting into it. She's fine. She's great.
But because. So like Anton's looking for the hand while Mick and Penub are trying to find Molly.
Kind of.
Yeah. Well, that's their job anyway. That's what he tells them to do. It's like, hey, go find her and make sure she's okay.
Yeah.
And stuff. And he's looking for the hand. And then he runs into Debbie.
Well, the principal dies.
Oh, yeah. This is really funny because it's like he's having an argument over his credit card. You're like, oh, man, something must be going on with his credit card. And then as soon as he gets it resolved, he starts jerking it.
Yeah.
On a phone sex line. But that guy dies. Because it comes out of his fly and fucking
which is kind of funny.
It is funny.
Yeah, it comes out of his fly and
crawls up his pant leg.
Crawls up his pant leg.
It's like, I can feel you. I was like,
I actually can feel you.
And then it bursts through his zipper right around his dick, and then grabs it.
And it's one of my favorite things. He starts sharpening his fingers down to the bone.
Yeah, apparently that scene was done in 5 minutes in one take.
That's just a neat thing. I was like, oh yeah, that's what he would do because it's not like it can feel it.
Yeah, or even if it could, who gives a shit? It's a fucking demon possessed hand.
Yeah, it's like I'm not gonna have to deal with the consequences of this hand after I'm done. Then Anton runs into Debbie and Randy. Like Debbie catches him. She's like, are you Anton? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, well, I'm here to help you. I know everything that's going on. And then she tries to fucking kill him with a sacrificial dagger. It's one of those sweet daggers that, like,
Yeah, it's so
bendy.
Yeah.
yeah, it's all bendy and shit. And and then he's like, I don't have the fucking hand anymore. And she's like, you dumb motherfucker.
That was probably a really bad idea.
Yeah.
That was epic bad luck.
Yeah, big bad luck. And then this is when and like Mick and Penub, like Penub is like macking on Tanya. And she's like making out with him, and Mick's like, dude, this is so fucking gross.
That's borderline illegal.
Because you're dead.
Yeah, and then Anton goes into the dance, and he's trying to warn everybody.
Yeah, he
there's a
gets up
killer
on the stage.
loose. And then Offspring pushes him off, and Dexter's like is like has his lines or whatever,
Yeah.
and then gets fucking his scalp ripped off.
That scene had to be done in one take because the prosthetic was so elaborate. So when they ripped it off, they knew once they ripped it off, it was done. So they had to cut that in one take.
It worked.
It worked really well. Yeah. It just
and then like everybody's like kind of like scattering and shit like that. The fucking hand is like dropping lighting fixtures on people and shit like that. And then Tanya and Molly escape in like a fucking air, like a ventilation unit.
A triple size ventilation unit.
Yeah, it's really big. It's fucking insanely big. And
I mentioned this during the movie. That's one of the movieisms that pisses me off whenever I see that in a movie. There are no air conditioning vents that are going to be that big.
Yeah.
Right.
For people to crawl through. When I mentioned it, Evan said, "Well, there was the closest one is the one that McClane crawls through during Nakatomi Plaza," and it's like, yeah, that is closer, but still, like most air conditioning vents are not going to be that big.
And
they're like 1 foot by like half a foot.
Yeah.
So, but for movieisms, they escape through the AC.
Yeah, and that's it builds tension. And,
it's whatever.
And that they're in an enclosed space. There's only like one escape from where they were if they're being chased by something. So it builds suspense, tension, and they find like where there's like a fan unit, but they can't get through it because the fan is spinning.
Yeah,
In the weirdest place for a fan unit.
But you guys also brought up like she asked for Tanya's shoe. It's like, why don't she use her own shoe? Well, she was wearing like slippers.
She was wearing slippers,
like almost like ballerina slippers.
Apparently, the shoe that they used for that cost $8.
Oh,
apparently,
yeah. She jams it into the fan where it's like kind of keeping the fan from spinning, and she.
This is like the only part of the movie where they actually make Molly seem smart.
Yeah. She's like getting shit done.
Yeah.
I mean, she would have been, but it's probably because she would have been way too useful to have with those other 3 fuck nuts running around.
Yeah,
and it wouldn't have been much of a movie.
Yeah,
So Tanya had like a whip that was around her.
It's part of her costume.
Yeah, it's part of her costume.
Because we mentioned the fact that they match their costumes. Molly's an angel, Tanya's a devil.
Yeah, and so they're lowering themselves through this fan while it's being held by the shoe. And Tanya is like really scared and stuff like that. But also while this is happening, Mick and Penub have went through the air conditioner unit, and they're like, "Oh, should we go down there?" And he starts hearing Tanya, and he's like, "Oh, that's Tanya. We should go." And then this is when Mick gets his bottle stuck in the. No, if you notice in the scene, he's like trying to keep it there because it's not actually caught on anything.
Yeah, it's not. It's just a.
But but he gets his bottle caught, and he's like, "Okay, this sucks."
Yeah.
and then Tanya. Is really scared she can't do it, blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden the rope gets raised up, and Molly's like, "Why'd you raise the rope up?" And she's like, "I didn't." And then she gets like hung down through the fan, and then the rope gets pulled through the fan after the hand has taken the shoe off, and she gets like chopped up.
Yeah.
And then this is when Mick and Penub find the Tanya, and he's like, "Oh, I don't want to go through all that Tanya."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, I don't think you're gonna get any."
I don't think you're definitely
not going to get any.
Yeah. It's like if you want a piece, you can go back. You can go back. If you want a piece, you can go back and get some.
And then we cut to Anton, and he's like in like an art class.
Yeah, an art room.
Yeah. And
Molly goes into that art room.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's when she
gets the vase dropped on her, and she goes, "Ow,
ow," and then meekly falls to the floor. It was so goddamn. It was just, ow.
Yeah, it's so funny.
So stupid.
Yeah, and then he goes in there, and there's like the puppets start moving and shit like that, like the eyes and the head start moving.
Kendall started laughing at this more. It's like first one it's like the eyes move, and then Anton like tackles the
He's
like the whole
beating
thing.
the shit out of this ventriloquist dummy, and then it ends up being not. And I started laughing. I started howling laughing because it makes me laugh every time when the other puppet that the actual Henny comes up behind him.
Yeah.
And it's like that weird looking one with the huge eyes and the fucking 3 hairs on his
Yeah.
head. It makes me laugh because I love the fact the expressions change
on
on that
it,
fucking
yeah.
puppet for no reason.
Yeah,
No
right.
reason.
But it starts beating the shit out of him and stuff like that. And he's finally got the thing where it's like he's trapped it or whatever. And then Mick and Penub fucking
Come out of the
vent and whack him with the vent or whatever. And you're like, oh man, we found you. Whatever. It's like, you stupid
Yeah,
motherfuckers.
he's like, hey, I made this. I made this ashtray. He's like, you stupid motherfuckers. All right, fuck you then.
Fuck you then.
That's when you howled loud. Whatever. He's like, fuck you then.
Fuck you then. And, and put up walks away.
It's so fucking funny. And then they find Molly in like the auto shop. She's on top of a car. There's a pentagram
Tied up.
Yeah, tied up. There's a pentagram on the ceiling.
Yeah, because we brushed over it. The demon has to take a pure soul back.
Yeah, I forgot about the druid.
Yeah,
clock.
has to take a pure soul back to hell with it, and it had selected Molly, and they had to get it done by midnight. And Anton was like, "Oh, it's only like 5. It's only
It's
5
not
till
even
9
9 yet.
Yeah, it's not even 9 yet. We have plenty of time." He's like, "No, click." It's almost midnight by Druid time. It was a fucking Druid
I was like,
watch on
what?
Debbie's wrist.
Yeah, and so they find Molly, and the puppet, the hand in the puppet is
On the lever.
working this lever that's raising the car up to the
Yeah.
pentagram.
Yeah.
That we assume like the portal to hell.
That
was
was
gonna-
supposed to open
it's
up,
Supposed to
too,
open
yeah.
up. And then they're trying to stop it or whatever. And it's just like this fucker's got a big grip.
Yeah.
and they find the fucking bong.
Seth Green holds it up and he goes, "It's Mighty Joe Bong."
He's like, man, those
Like
auto
these
shop guys,
auto
you
shop
got
guys, yeah.
they're
No,
real artists.
Real artists.
But I was like, "I made this. I arc welded it and everything."
The ashtray, I believe. This I don't. And then they start. He's like, "Ooh, needs to be spinach."
It needs to be spinach.
Yeah, and then they're fucking smoking up. Penub has some, and then and then Anton's like, "Oh shit!" And then he starts smoking on it, and then Seth's like, "See, you just need some Anton time." And then Molly gets pissed. She's like, "You're smoking weed with your friends? Of course you are."
Yeah.
And then he takes a fucking huge rip off that bong and blows it right into the fucking puppet. Oh, dude, when that puppet turns around
Yeah.
and his eyes get all small and then they roll back into the back of his head, that's the funniest
They're all
fucking...
veiny.
Dude, I fucking die every time that happens. It's so fucking funny. They get the thing to stop. It stops right...
Yeah, her nose even gets compressed against the
I
ceiling.
actually
Yeah.
like that. I thought that
Yeah.
was neat.
It's a good thing she didn't have bigger tits.
And they're trying to figure out how to get her down and stuff like that. And then the hand is still kind of alive, so it jumps up at Anton, and Debbie fucking
Appears out of the doorway
just fucking sweet knife throw, and throws that thing right into Mick's chest,
with the hand.
and he's like
pin-
sitting there or whatever, and then it just kind of goes. And he's like, "Really?
That's it?
That's it?" He's like, "I have no hellfire, no
No,
beam."
no. I'm just saying. All things considered, it was disappointing. AKA, they ran out of money.
And I think he was playing that up.
Yeah.
That's why it's funny. And then then Anton grabs that dagger out of Mick's chest and he cuts Molly off the thing. And then so he cuts her down and they start making out. You know, they're like together now.
Yeah.
And stuff, which it isn't explained in the movie whatsoever.
Whatever.
It is what it is.
It's bad writing.
And then basically Mick's like, "Dude, give me that. I never got a fucking hit off that." So he's going to hit the fucking bong, and then he hits Penub and he runs into the fucking lever. It crushes Anton underneath it, and he's like, and Mick's like, "Sweet Jesus,
Sweet Jesus."
And he's
Okay,
like,
that is not my fault. That thing should have come down way slower.
Yeah.
and then the gates to heaven open up, and Mick and Penub go through it or whatever, and they're telling Anton, "Hey, you coming?"
Yeah. Fuck it.
Fucking-
Yeah, he didn't die.
Yeah, and then we cut to the hospital, and he's like in a full body cast, like Looney Tunes style.
Yeah.
No hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he still doesn't have a hand. Molly is visiting him. She comes by every day.
Yeah.
We learn, and then Mick and Penub show up. They got their wings. They're angels now.
Yeah.
And and they're like, yeah, we're here to watch over you and stuff like that. He's like, yeah, we're gonna go get some from the snack, the vending machine. You want something? He's like, yeah, give me some of this.
Some crunch nuggets.
And then they leave. They turn off the lights or whatever, and it's I'm under the bed thing.
Yeah.
And he starts screaming. He's like, yeah, you're right. He does scream like a girl. He's like, should we tell him we wrote that on the thing? He's like, nah, fuck it.
Yeah. Hey, let's go walk through a nurse. Careful, some of them are guys.
And credits.
Yeah. Like I said, the movie is fun. It is fun. It's funny. It's got a lot of laughs. Seth Green and Eldon Henson are fucking hilarious. They're fantastic in this movie. Apparently Seth Green had very little knowledge of marijuana going into this movie, but learned a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Henson, big knowledgeable about it.
They didn't say whether or not he was knowledgeable about it, but apparently Seth Green was pretty much a novice going into this, and he walked out with a lot more knowledge than he ever thought he was going to have about marijuana.
Like Eldon Henson is awesome in this movie.
Yeah.
Devin Sawa is just doing some great physical comedy. I mean, physical comedy that would like Jim Carrey would probably.
Jim Carrey would probably take a look at this and be like, "Oh, this is really good." Yeah, this kid's
it was
talented.
difficult.
But yeah, that was Idle Hands.
Yeah.
I know one person that's looking forward to this episode, which is Jessica that works with me and Kendall.
Yeah.
This is her favorite movie ever.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, she loves this movie.
I don't hate this movie.
And she has been looking forward to this episode, so I wanted to give a shout out to her.
I don't hate this movie. I enjoy this movie every time I watch it. I think it's fun. Is it written well? No. And again, if Seth Green and Eldon Henson weren't in this movie would have a completely different tone, and it wouldn't be the movie that it wouldn't be anywhere near as entertaining as it was. Like we said during the intro, this came out 10 days after the Columbine massacre, where Eric Harrison Dylan Klebold killed 17 people in a high school in Columbine. They honestly, they probably should have pushed it back. They could have pushed the release back a few months and maybe taken a little bit of the heat off of it. But within a month, there was I can't remember what the senator's name. I think it was Lieberman or something. That literally used this as one of the examples. You know, throughout history, we're always, instead of blaming the guns, we're going to blame whatever. We're going to blame music, or we're going to blame violence in video games. We're going to blame violence in movies. We're going to blame anything but the guns. But he used this as an example, saying it's movies like this that's causing our kids to become violent and want to go shoot up schools. That's not the case.
Right.
Like kids are gonna do what they're gonna do.
Some people are just fucked up.
Some people are just fucked up.
Just deal with that.
Yeah. I mean, and so because of that, because it became like the poster child for because it became the poster child of like violence in movies, it kind of got a bad rap, and it didn't do as well in the theaters as it should have. Like it could have done a lot better, but in the movie there are problematic things. I don't know if we may have actually forgotten to do this for no we forgot to do this for Halloween, so we're gonna do this again. We may actually have different MVPs this week. Who was your MVP, Kendall?
My MVP was definitely Mitch and
Mick
and
P-Nub.
Yeah, they're my favorites.
Yeah, I have a co-MVP. It's Eldon Henson and Seth Green.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go with Anton. Devin Sawa. I thought I fucking love Seth Green and Eldon Henson in this movie. It's fantastic, but. Devin Sawa's performance, the physical comedy and stuff like that he did was just top notch. So, where would you put it on your scarometer?
That was not scary at all.
Not scary at all?
No.
So
if you don't like gore, it might bother you a little bit. And there's just a few scenes. There's really not. It's not even that. I mean, if you don't like blood, I guess that would bother you. Mm-hmm. But as far as gore, it's really not that bad. Mm-mm. And it's really just funny. That's just a funny, good time movie. You forget you're watching a horror movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know this is like one of your friend Jessica's like favorite movies.
Yeah.
She loves this movie.
We are open to, if one of our listeners wants to watch the movie along with us, you are more than welcome to come on. We can get your opinions. Apparently Jessica really loves the movie. I'd love to have heard her opinion on why she loves this movie so much. Because maybe it would have. For me, I would put this movie like and a 1 out of 10, I would put it as a 5. I'm never going to turn it off, but I'm usually not going to go looking for it.
I probably put it's like a solid 7 for me.
Yeah.
Because I think it's fun. It's funny. It's got a lot of good kills in it.
It's got a lot of good one-liners in it that I use. Like I say, "Sweet Jesus," like when something bad happens, I always say,
I mean, if it's on, I'm gonna watch it. Or if I find it somewhere, if I see it on a streaming service, I'm gonna put it on.
All right. Where can everyone find everybody?
Kendall.
I live in Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to give us your address?
No. No.
Yeah.
Hey, special shout out to all of our outside of Kansas listeners. I was looking at the statistics and I noticed that we have listeners in Tennessee, Georgia, Virginia. I don't know anybody in Virginia. Illinois, Indiana, a couple in California. Hey, man, thank you. Thank you for listening.
Oh yeah. By the way, we set up a prop to thank our Greece listeners. Let's go ahead and grab those plates so we can break them.
Yeah.
Opa.
Opa. Yeah, we have a listener in Greece. We have 2 listeners now or at least 2 downloads in Russia. So Nostrova.
But yeah, I want to thank all of our international listeners.
Yeah.
I want to say thanks to all of our listeners out there.
Yeah.
Not the ones that are just our friends.
Yeah. Well,
thank you for listening too.
We want to say thank you to all our friends that are listening, but we also want to say thank you to the people who may or may not have ever met us in real life. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
I'm going to give a special shout out to my friend Keith, my friend Randy, my friend Caleb, my friend James. They're all listening in the, like Oklahoma, Texas Bible Belt thing. And then everyone else, other than the people that live here, I don't know anybody else. So we thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
So you can find me at SmarkyMFer on Blue Sky and Twitter, and Crit Happens 13 on Instagram.
And you can find me at GalloStrayCon on all the things. And we are on TikTok for TikTok may be gone by the time this episode comes out. But we are on TikTok at Kendall Hates Horror. We are on Blue Sky at Kendall Hates Horror.
We are on Twitter at KHHPod, and then Kendall Hates Horror on Instagram.
And at khhorrorpodcast@gmail.com. Please email us your suggestions, your comments. Follow us on YouTube. Click the subscribe button and leave us a comment. Let us know what we're doing right. Let us know what we're doing wrong. Just let us know something. Let us know that you love the sound of Kendall's voice as much as we do.
That's not true.
It's so soothing. What are you talking about?
Especially not today. I'm dying of influenza A.
No. It's still soothing. In between the wheezing and the coughing, it's still soothing. Any parting words, gentlemen?
I love you.
Oh.
All of you.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if that was directed towards me.
Yes, it was.
Oh, okay.
All of you.
I know.
Ditto.
Yeah, ditto. Nice ghost reference. Parting words, Evan.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
Unless you can be Batman, then be Batman.
Be the Batman, yeah.
Fucking A. All of my pets are named after Batman characters.
Yes, yeah. You have Gordon and
Gordon and Ivy
yeah.
and Harvey.
And then there was Oswald.
And Oswald.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have too many pets. I'm not gonna say them all.
My dog is named after a Guardian of the Galaxy. His name's Drax. So, my parting words are: we're recording this on New Year's Day. 2025 has only been a thing for a little less than 24 hours.
And fuckers, we recorded 2 episodes on holidays. So don't say that we're not committed to you.
Yeah, we recorded an episode on Christmas Day and on New Year's Day. So we are committed to hopefully making this great, not make America great, make this podcast great again. So my parting words are 2024, you can suck my fat ass. And 2025, please be gentle.
Wait, put it in slow.
Yeah. 2025.
Just the tip.
Yeah. 2025, you're gonna ride my ass. At least pull my hair.
Go slow. It's my first time.
Yeah. Wear protection at least.
Unfortunately, it's not your first time.
Yeah, no. Fuck.
All right,
That thing
guys.
is loose.
Join us again next week when we're probably gonna get him again. Like we got him with Autopsy, we're gonna get him with the next one. It's gonna be awesome. So please come back and join us. And as Mick says, catch you on the flip flop.
Later.